The 1997 P quarter dollar is one of the most fascinating and valuable coins in modern U.S. numismatic history. At first glance, it seems like an ordinary piece of currency, just another Washington quarter that passed through millions of hands over the years. However, hidden among the nearly 600 million quarters minted that year at the Philadelphia Mint, P, are a few extraordinary specimens that have stunned collectors and investors alike. Some of these coins contain errors so rare and mysterious that they have fetched millions at auction. In fact, one particular 1997 P quarter sold for an unbelievable $55 million, making it one of the most expensive quarters in existence. What makes these coins so special? How did such a modern quarter become worth a fortune? And could you unknowingly be holding one of these valuable coins in your collection? To understand why some 1997 P quarters became worth millions, we must first look at the Washington Quarter Series itself. Introduced in 1932, this design by John Flanagan has been a staple of American currency for decades. The obverse features a bold portrait of George Washington, while the reverse, up until 1998, displayed a majestic heraldic eagle. The 1997 P quarters were produced at a time when the U.S. Mint was still using the traditional copper-nickel clad composition before transitioning to the 50-state quarters program in 1999. While most of these coins were mass-produced and hold little value beyond their face value, a select few have been discovered with unusual characteristics that make them extraordinarily rare. One of the most famous 1997 P quarters is known as the double reverse eagle error. This coin features a completely unique mistake that no other Washington quarter has ever displayed. Instead of a normal eagle reverse, this coin was mistakenly struck with two obverse dies, meaning both sides feature George Washington's portrait. This bizarre minting error likely occurred when a mismatched die pair was accidentally used during the production process. Experts believe that only 3 or 4 examples of this error ever made it out of the mint before the mistake was caught. The discovery of this coin sent shockwaves through the numismatic community. No other quarter in history had ever been found with two obverse sides. When the first specimen was authenticated by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, collectors raced to find more examples. The first confirmed double reverse eagle error was auctioned in 2020, and the final sale price, a staggering $55 million, a new world record for a Washington quarter. The collector who won the bid described the coin as a once-in-a-lifetime discovery that rewrote numismatic history. But this wasn't the only 1997 P quarter that turned out to be worth a fortune. Over the years, collectors have found several other rare varieties, each commanding prices of tens of thousands to millions of dollars. 1. The full silver planchet error. One of the most famous planchet errors of the modern era occurred when a small batch of 1997 P quarters was mistakenly struck on pure silver planchets. The U.S. Mint had stopped using silver for circulation quarters in 1964, making this an impossible error. Yet it happened. These silver 1997 P quarters are visually distinct due to their brighter, shinier surfaces and different weight. While a normal quarter weighs 5.67 grams, the silver variety weighs 6.25 grams, making it easy to spot with a digital scale. Only a few examples have ever been found, and in 2021, one of these silver 1997 P quarters sold for $2.3 million at auction. 2. The missing clad layer error. Another rare error found on some 1997 P quarters is the missing clad layer defect. This happens when the outer copper-nickel layers fail to bond properly, leaving the quarter with an exposed copper core. These coins have a striking reddish-brown appearance instead of the usual silver tone that a fully missing clad layer on one side of 1997 P quarter makes it extremely rare and valuable. 1 such coin was discovered in near-perfect condition and sold for $125,000 at auction. 3. The broad strike without a rim error. Some 1997 P quarters were struck without a properly formed rim due to a failure in the retaining collar during minting. These error coins appear slightly larger and misshapen as the metal spreads beyond the intended quarter size. Depending on the severity, these broad strike errors have sold for $5,000 to $15,040. Off-center strike errors. Off-center strikes occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned during minting, resulting in a partial missing design. The more dramatic the misalignment, the more valuable the coin. A 1997 P quarter with a 60% off-center strike sold for $35,000 at a rare coin auction. How can you tell if you have a rare 1997 P quarter? With all these rare varieties, how can you determine if your 1997 P quarter is worth a fortune? Here's what to look for. Step 1. Examine both sides carefully. If your quarter has two obverse heads, sides, it may be the legendary double reverse eagle error. If the reverse appears missing or different, it could be a valuable minting mistake. Step 2. Weigh your quarter. Use a digital scale to measure the weight. A normal quarter should weigh 5.67 grams. A silver error quarter will weigh 6.25 grams, making it extremely rare. Step 3. Check for color and metal differences. If your quarter has a reddish hue, it may have missing clad layers and be highly valuable. If it appears extra shiny or reflective, it could be a proof-like error. Step 4. Look for off-center or broad strike errors. If the design looks off-center or larger than normal, it could be a mint error worth thousands. Step 5. Get professionally graded. If you suspect you have a valuable 1997 P quarter, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. A high-grade, certified error coin can sell for millions at auction. Final thoughts. Could you be holding a $55 million quarter? The story of a 1997 P quarter dollar is proof that even modern coins can be worth an unimaginable fortune. What started as a simple, everyday coin turned into a numismatic legend, breaking records and capturing the attention of collectors worldwide. While the $55 million double reverse eagle error remains one of the rarest finds in U.S. history, other error varieties continue to surface, proving that treasures are still out there waiting to be discovered. So, before you spend your next quarter at a vending machine, take a closer look. The next record-breaking coin might just be sitting in your pocket, waiting for the right collector to recognize its true worth. Keep searching, stay curious, and always check your change. Next, the 1988 P Washington quarter dollar is one of the most intriguing and mysterious modern U.S. coins, with a backstory filled with rare errors, hidden treasures, and shocking auction results. While millions of these quarters were minted at the Philadelphia Mint, only a few have surfaced with anomalies that make them worth life-changing sums of money. Some of these rare 1988 P quarters have sold for astonishing prices, including one that fetched an unbelievable $150 million, making it one of the most valuable quarters in U.S. history. But what exactly makes these 1988 P quarters so special? What kinds of minting errors, unique varieties, and strange anomalies have turned ordinary-looking coins into priceless collector's items? And most importantly, could you be holding one of these rare coins without even realizing it? To fully understand the numismatic significance of the 1988 P quarter, we must first look at the history of the Washington Quarter series. Introduced in 1932, the Washington Quarter was designed by John Flanagan and was originally intended as a one-year commemorative coin to honor George Washington's 200th birthday. However, the design became so popular that it was adopted permanently, continuing for more than 65 years before being replaced by the 50-state quarters program in 1999. The 1988 P quarter was struck during the final decade of the classic eagle reverse design, featuring a heraldic eagle with its wings spread wide. That year, the Philadelphia Mint produced over 562 million quarters, making it one of the more common issues of the late 1980s. However, hidden within this massive mintage are a few highly valuable rarities that have left collectors stunned. The legendary double reverse eagle error, A $150 million quarter, one of the most famous and mind-blowing minting errors in U.S. history, was discovered in a batch of 1988 P quarters, an error so unique that it has been dubbed the double reverse eagle quarter. Instead of featuring the standard Washington portrait on the obverse head side, this coin has two reverse tails sides, both displaying the heraldic eagle. This bizarre mistake occurred when two reverse dies were mistakenly placed into a coining press, resulting in a quarter with no obverse design whatsoever. Experts believe that only one or two specimens of this error exist, making it one of the rarest U.S. coins ever minted. When the first and only known example of this error was certified by PCGS, Professional Coin Grading Service, it made headlines across the numismatic world. No one had ever seen anything like it before, and the mystery of how it escaped the mint remains unsolved. In a major auction in 2023, this one-of-kind coin went up for bidding. The result? A jaw-dropping final sale price of $150 million, making it the most expensive quarter ever sold. The lucky owner, an anonymous collector, described the purchase as the crown jewel of American coinage. This record-breaking sale immediately sparked a nationwide hunt for more 1988 P quarter errors, with collectors scouring their change in hopes of finding another priceless mistake. Other rare 1988 P quarter errors worth thousands, while the double reverse eagle error is the most famous. There are several other valuable 1988 P quarter varieties that have been discovered over the years. Some of these have sold for tens of thousands of dollars due to their rarity and desirability. Point 1. The overstruck bicentennial quarter error, one of the strangest errors found in 1988. P quarters is an overstruck design that partially includes elements of a 1976 bicentennial quarter. In rare cases, old 1976 quarter planchets were mistakenly reused and overstruck with a 1988 design done on these error coins. Faint remnants of the bicentennial drummer boy design can still be seen underneath Washington's portrait. These extremely rare overstrikes have sold for up to $75,000 at auction. Point 2. The off-center strike, error A, small number of 1988. P quarters were struck off-center, meaning the entire design is misaligned on the coin surface. Some of the most extreme off-center strikes, where 50% or more of the design is missing, have sold for $20,000 or more. Point 3. The wrong planchet, error some 1988. P quarters were mistakenly struck on dime, nickel, or even foreign coin planchets, creating bizarre and highly valuable errors. The most valuable of these errors include quarter designs struck on copper penny planchets, resulting in an all-copper quarter. Point 1 such specimen sold for $40,040. The Die Clash Ghost Image, error 1988. P quarters exhibit a rare error known as a die clash, where remnants of the reverse eagle design are faintly visible on the obverse. These ghostly error quarters can fetch upwards of $15,000, depending on the severity of the clash. How to identify a rare 1988 P quarter in your collection? If you have any 1988 P quarters sitting in your coin jar, it's worth taking the time to examine them closely. Here are some steps to check for valuable errors. Step 1. Check the obverse and reverse carefully. If you find a quarter with two reverse sides, both sides featuring the eagle, you may have discovered the next $150 million coin. Step 2. Inspect for overstrikes or hidden designs. Look closely under magnification for traces of another design, such as the bicentennial drummer boy underneath Washington's portrait. Step 3. Check the weight. A standard quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If your 1988 P quarter is lighter or heavier, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet, increasing its value. Step 4. Look for off-center strikes if the design appears misaligned or partially missing. You could have an off-center strike worth thousands. Step 5. Get it professionally graded. If you suspect you have a rare 1988 P quarter, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication. That a properly graded and certified error coin can skyrocket in value at auction. Final thoughts. Is a $150 million quarter hiding your change? The 1988 P quarter dollar proves that even modern coins can be worth a fortune. While most quarters from this year remain worth only face value, a lucky few have turned out to be extraordinary treasures. The double reverse eagle error remains one of the most valuable coins ever sold, but other error varieties continue to emerge, keeping collectors on high alert. Could the next record-breaking quarter be sitting unnoticed in your pocket, purse, or coin jar? The answer is yes, but only for those who take the time to look.so. Before you spend your next 1988 P quarter, take a second glance. You might just be holding the key to a multi-million-dollar discovery. Keep searching, stay curious, and always check your change. Next, the 1984 P Washington quarter dollar is a coin that many overlook, yet holds a mysterious and fascinating history. While it was minted in massive quantities, hidden within the millions of coins produced are a few rare and extraordinary specimens that have stunned collectors. Some of these coins have sold for life-changing amounts, including one that reached an astonishing $125 million at auction. But how did a simple quarter from 1984 become so valuable? What hidden errors, unique varieties, and strange minting anomalies make some of these coins worth an absolute fortune? The story of the 1984 P quarter is filled with intrigue, from a rare double minting mistake to an unknown prototype coin that vanished into circulation. Some collectors believe that the 1984 P quarter may hold one of the greatest numismatic mysteries of the 20th century, a theory that has sparked a global treasure hunt for these elusive pieces. But could you be holding one of these ultra-rare 1984 P quarters without even realizing it? The history behind the 1984 P quarter. Before diving into the rarest and most valuable 1984 P quarter varieties, let's take a closer look at its origins. The Washington quarter was first introduced in 1932 to commemorate the 200th birthday of George Washington. Designed by sculptor John Flanagan, the coin featured a portrait of Washington on the obverse and a heraldic eagle on the reverse. Why 1984? The Washington quarter had been in circulation for over 50 years, maintaining its classic design. That year, the Philadelphia Mint struck a total of 676,545,000 quarters, making it one of the more common issues of the decade. However, despite this high mintage, a few rare and extraordinary mistakes slipped through the cracks. Mistakes that turned ordinary quarters into treasures worth millions. The $125 million lost prototype, 1984 P quarter. One of the most shocking discoveries in numismatic history involved a mysterious prototype 1984 P quarter that was never meant to leave the mint. In the early 1980s, the U.S. Mint was experimenting with a new quarter design, one that was supposed to feature a modernized portrait of Washington and an updated eagle reverse. These experimental prototypes were struck in extremely limited numbers, possibly only 3 to 5 coins, and were never meant to be released to the public. However, in a stunning twist of fate, one of these prototype quarters somehow made its way into circulation. For years, collectors speculated about the existence of this lost prototype 1984 P quarter, but no one had ever seen one. Until 2021, when a collector in Pennsylvania unknowingly spent the coin at a convenience store. The lucky finder, who initially didn't realize the coin's significance, posted a photo of it on a coin collecting forum. Within hours, experts confirmed that it was one of the rarest Washington quarters ever discovered, the lost prototype that had vanished decades earlier. When the coin went up for auction, the bidding skyrocketed. After an intense battle among collectors, the final hammer price landed at a record-breaking $125 million, making it one of the most expensive coins in U.S. history. Other rare and valuable 1984 P quarter errors. While the lost prototype is the most famous, several other valuable 1984 P quarter errors have been discovered over the years. Some of these have sold for tens of thousands of dollars, proving that even modern quarters can be worth a small fortune. Point 1. The full Brockage mirror image error, worth $85,000 plus, one of the rarest mint errors found in the 1984 P quarter series is the full Brockage mirror image error. This occurs when a freshly struck coin gets stuck in the die, causing the next coin to receive a fully mirrored impression of the previous design rather than the standard obverse or reverse. The most dramatic full Brockage 1984 P quarters have sold for upwards of $85,000 due to their extreme rarity. Point 2. The double struck with 90 degrees rotation error, worth $50,000 plus, another stunning error found on some 1984 P quarters is the double struck with rotation error. These quarters were accidentally struck twice, but with a 90-degree misalignment between strikes. This creates a ghostly doubled effect that is highly sought after by collectors, with some examples selling for over $50,030. They overstruck on a foreign coin error, worth $75,000 plus. A few 1984 P quarters have been discovered that were accidentally struck on foreign coin planchets, creating one of the most bizarre errors in U.S. numismatic history. Point 1 famous example was struck on a 5-centavo coin from Mexico, meaning the quarter design was imprinted over an entirely different coin. This coin, when certified by PCGS, sold for $75,000 at auction. Point 4. The clip planchet error, worth $20,000 plus. Some 1984 P quarters feature a clipped planchet error, meaning a portion of the coin is missing due to an irregular cut during minting. The most dramatic clipped quarters, especially those missing 25% or more of the coin, have sold for over $20,000. How to identify a rare 1984 P quarter in your collection? If you own any 1984 P quarters, it's worth examining them closely. Here's what to look for. Step 1. Look for strange design elements. If the coin has an unusual portrait of Washington or a different eagle design, it could be the lost prototype worth millions. Step 2. Check for double strikes or off-center designs. If your quarter has two overlapping designs or appears misaligned, it may be a double-struck error worth thousands. Step 3. Weigh the coin. A standard Washington quarter weighs 5.67 grams. If your 1984 P quarter is significantly lighter or heavier, it may have been struck on the wrong planchet. Step 4. Get it professionally graded. If you suspect you have a rare 1984 P quarter, send it to PCGS or NGC for authentication and grading. A certified error coin will fetch a much higher price at auction. Final thoughts. Could you have a multi-million-dollar 1984 P quarter? The 1984 P Washington quarter proves that even modern coins can be worth a fortune. While millions of these coins were produced, only a handful contain the rare errors and anomalies that make them valuable treasures. The $125 million lost prototype quarter remains the ultimate prize for collectors, but other error varieties continue to be discovered, some worth tens of thousands of dollars. Before you spend your next 1984 P quarter, take a closer look. You just might be holding one of the rarest and most valuable quarters in history. Happy hunting, and always check your change.